Hello, welcome back to Car Reviews with SaturnSpotter. I'm your host, SaturnSpotter, obviously. And I say that like we have other people here, but we don't. It's just me for today. Eventually, there will be other people in other episodes, but I'm getting some more stuff set up, some more things planned out first before that happens. I'm gonna make sure I have a microphone. It's like a better quality microphone. Gonna get a green screen and everything set up. I want to make sure if it's gonna be done, I want to make sure it's done right. I don't want to get one that's not to the best ability. So we'll get there eventually, but not yet. But today episode is all about Ferrari. That's right, Ferrari, the Italian brand that everybody knows and dare I say loves. But I mean, it's hard to not like Ferrari. Let's be honest. I'm making this episode the night before because I am on call for work this week. I rotate on call every 4 weeks, I believe it is. And I was working from 12 o'clock midnight on Saturday night till about 2 o'clock Sunday in the afternoon. So I worked 14 hours straight after being awake from about 7 a.m. Actually, it was probably around 7 a.m. Saturday morning. So in total, I'm not, good at math, but I'm pretty sure that's over 30 hours, or at least around 30 hours that I was awake. So yeah, I didn't get to upload this or record this the day that I wanted to. I was planning to do it Sunday, but I had to push it back till Monday instead. And at any moment during this podcast, I could get called to go to work. So if this podcast is less than an hour long, we know why, because I'm not going to miss an upload date. Even if it's half an upload, I'll just upload a different episode that's an actual proper length as a bonus episode if this one doesn't end up being the correct amount of time. But, anything can happen when it comes to this job. But we're here now. My chair's squeaking, and that's what matters. I wish I brought water, but I didn't. Oh well, I'll be fine. So as you know, this episode is going to be about Ferrari, the automobile manufacturer. And yeah, it's very popular. I mean, there's even a whole scene. There's a whole what's the word I'm thinking of? Voice line in the movie Cars. It's all about like, it's a real Ferrari, Ferrari. It's just, Ferraris are crazy. You see a Ferrari, it doesn't even matter what Ferrari it is. It's going to be like, dang, that's really cool. I mean, I saw just a Porsche 911 GT3 the other day in my area, which is really uncommon for the area I live in, on my way home from work. And I was like, dang, that thing's crazy. It wasn't even a Ferrari, it was a Porsche. But I mean, those are really nice cars, though. I have to do a Porsche episode soon. Those are very, very nice cars. I will not lie. Porsche 911 GT3, definitely one of my top 10 favorite cars outside of Saturn. If I had to make a list of my favorite cars outside of Saturn, you know what? That'd be fun. Maybe I'll do a bonus episode where I make a list of like some of my favorite cars, and then it'll be a shorter episode and just kind of explain what I like about them, like a top 10 favorite cars list. That'd be really hard to choose, though. That'd be really hard to pick. I have to do excluding Saturns, otherwise it's just going to be the first 90% of the list is going to be Saturn, so it wouldn't be very fair. That'd be interesting. That'd be fun. That'd be a fun bonus episode to release on like a Wednesday or a Saturday. It's a fun little short episode. I should totally do that. That'd be cool. I'm trying to think what the list would even be, because there's so many cars I like. I like mainly older cars, but there are a lot of Porsches I like. Especially some of the especially the older Porsches. I really like a lot of the older Porsches, and then the new 911s are really nice. Because I like weird things like the Ford Aerostar, or the Plymouth Aerostar, whichever one it is. The Aero van, I can't remember. It's a Ford. The Ford Aero van. I like that thing. I might be getting them confused, but I'm pretty sure it's a Ford. There's an Aerostar and there's an Aero van. I'm pretty sure. Just because I know I'm going to hate myself if I get it wrong. Let me look it up. Aerostar. It is the Aerostar. Okay, well, there's something. I saw something that was something van. It might not have been a real car. It might have been fake. It was on Reddit, and Reddit, I am in a few car subreddits that are about people smashing cars together. So they could have put an Aerostar. Yep. Okay, I was right. We're good. The Aero van was probably some fake car that I saw smashed together. Oh yeah, okay. So the concept was called the Aero van, and actually it looks really cool. That's probably what I'm thinking of. Anyway, this is an episode about Ferrari. Don't need to be talking about Ford right now. I know they both start with F, but it's definitely not what we're going for. Also, I was informed that the background music was a little bit too loud in the last episode, so I'm going to try to fix it in this one and lower it a bit. Unfortunately, because of Spotify's whole system, I had to put in the music manually in the background, and that did make it a little bit harder and a little bit longer of a process, but I will lower the volume on that so you can hear me a bit better. I'll make sure it's like just low enough to where you can kind of hear it in the background, and then it's not obnoxious. So yeah, we'll test that out today. But how's your week been? How was your weekend? Christmas is coming up. That's fun. Make sure you spend time with family. I know I'm going to be at a car show this Saturday from 9 to 2 p.m. I was going to go to Cars and Coffee Concord, which is at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, but another show came up that my car club's going to, so I'm going to go with them. I might make announcements on where it is on my Instagram if it comes up. It might be a private meet. I haven't looked a lot into it yet, but if it's like a smaller private meet, then I won't. But if it's a public meet, check my Instagram as the week progresses, and if you want to come show up and ride on the chalkboard car, because that's what I'll be bringing there, then make sure to show up if you live in the area. But anyway, you guys ready to get into Ferrari? Because I know I am. I originally was going to do Lamborghini, but something told me to do Ferrari instead, so that's what we are going to do. Let's see. So Ferrari is an Italian luxury sports car manufacturer based on Maranello, Italy. Founded in 1939 by, as everybody knows, Enzo Ferrari, of course. Enzo Ferrari is a legend. The company built its first car in 1940, adopted its current name in 1945, and began to produce its current line of road cars in 1947. Ferrari became a public company in 1960, and from 63 to 2014, it was a subsidiary of Fiat and was a spun-off from Fiat's successor entity, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, in 2016. The company currently offers a large model range, which includes several supercars, Grand Tours, and one SUV. Many early Ferraris, dating to the 1950s and 1960s, count among the most expensive cars ever sold at auction, owing to a combination of its cars, enthusiast culture, and successful licensing deals. In 2019, Ferrari was labeled the world's strongest brand by financial consultancy Brand Finance. As of May 2023, Ferrari is also one of the largest car manufacturers by market capitalization, with a value of approximately $52 billion. Yeah, going back to the most expensive cars ever sold at auction, I think everybody who's into cars knows about the Ferrari 250 GT that sold for like $250 million, which is absolutely insane amount of money to spend on a car. I mean, like it's a insane car, definitely worth it, but I mean, I don't know if I can say worth it. Definitely, an expensive and really memorable and valuable car, but that's so much money. I mean, one rock scratch on the paint, and it's not worth anywhere near that anymore. I mean, I don't know, actually. I think because of what it is, it probably still would be worth a lot. So maybe that doesn't apply for that. I don't know if it was an investment where you're going to get a lot of money back. I don't know if things can get much higher than $250 million. That's a lot of money. But hey, whoever bought it, they probably don't need more money. That's probably why they bought it. Throughout its history, the company had been noted for its continued participation in racing, especially in Formula One, where its team, Scuderia Ferrari, is the series' single oldest and most successful. Scuderia Ferrari has raced since 1929, first in Grand Prix events and later in Formula One, where since 1952 it's held 15 champion drivers, won 16 constructors championships, and accumulated more race victories, won first and second place finishes, podiums, pole positions, fastest laps, and points than any other team in F1 history. Historically, Ferrari was also highly active in sports car racing, where its cars took many wins in races like the Mille Miglia, Targa Florio, and 24 Hours of Le Mans. Of course, everybody loves. I can't keep saying everybody loves, but a lot of people know about the 24 Hours of Le Mans. It's very, very popular. I personally really like the 24 Hours of Le Mans. It's really fun to watch, as well as several overall victories in the World Sports Car Championship. Scuderia Ferrari fans, commonly called tifosi, are known for their passion and loyalty to the team. Enzo Ferrari, formerly a salesman and racing driver for Alfa Romeo, so I don't know why I said Romeo, not like Romeo and Juliet, founded Scuderia Ferrari and a racing team in 1929, originally intended to service gentlemen drivers and other amateur racers. Alfa Romeo's withdrawal from racing in 1933, combined with Enzo's connections within the company, turned Scuderia Ferrari into its unofficial representative on the track. Alfa Romeo supplied racing cars to Ferrari, who eventually amassed some of the best drivers of the 1930s and won many races before team's liquidation in 1937. Late in 1937, Scuderia Ferrari was liquidated and absorbed into Alfa Romeo, but Enzo's disagreements with upper management caused him to leave in 1939. He used his settlement to fund his own company, where he intended to produce his own cars. He called the company Auto Aveo Costruzione and headquartered it in the facilities of the old Scuderia Ferrari. That's hard to say multiple times in a row. Due to a non-complete agreement with Alfa Romeo, the company could not use the Ferrari name for another 4 years. Also, I don't know why I'm saying Ferrari I'm actually Italian. I mean, I am Italian, but I'm like 25% Italian. I can say Ferrari. It's not a big of a deal. The company produced a single car, the Auto Aveo Costruzione 815, which participate. Actually, let me get a picture of that up for you. I forgot I have video stuff now. Let me show you just what this thing looks like. It's not gonna let me do that. I gotta do this. There you go. The what did I say it was called? Take a look at it. The Auto Aveo Costruzione 815. Yep, there it is. Look at that thing. Now that's what like a racer looked like. You know, the no roof, these tiny little windscreens, the really long front end with all that the V12 in it. Which participated in only one race before the outbreak of World War II. During the war, Enzo's company produced aircraft engines and machine tools for the Italian military. The contracts for these goods were lucrative and produced a new company with a great deal of capital. In 1943, under threat of Allied bombing raids, the company's factory was moved to Maranello, though the new factory was nonetheless bombed twice. Ferrari remains in Maranello to this day. In 1945, Ferrari adopted its current name. Work started promptly on a new V12 engine that would power the 125S. Let me show you what that looks like. It's honestly pretty similar. That's right, I can't do that. I gotta do all this stuff because the internet hates me. Bam, pretty similar. I mean, that was really the design back in those days. That was like the main car design, especially for a Ferrari. The 125S, which was the marque's first car, and many subsequent Ferraris. The company saw success in motorsport almost as soon as it began racing. The 125S won many races in 1947 and several early victories, including the 1949 24 Hours of Le Mans and 1951 Carrera Panamericana, helped build Ferrari's reputation as a high-quality automaker. Ferrari won several more races in the coming years, and early in the 1950s, its road cars were already a favorite of the international elite. Ferrari produced many families of interrelated cars, including the America, Monza, and the 250 series. And the company's first series produced car was the 250 GT Coupe, beginning in 1958. So let me show you what the 250 GT Coupe looks like. Let me get for my GTA 5 players out there, this will look familiar. It's definitely not the same quality, like it's not a Ferrari in game at all, but this looks a lot like, let me see if I can find it. I want to see if I can find, I don't remember what it's called, because it looks a lot like it, and for the sake of this, I want to pull it up so that you can see it. Let's see. It would count as a coupe, I believe. Nope. No. I guess not in this game. What is it counted as? Sedan, maybe? Even though it's not really. That's not really a sedan. That's a coupe. But this might be only the online vehicle. I want to find it. I know this isn't related to Ferrari, but I know what I'm talking about. And I really want to find it. Is there like a... I don't know what it's called, though. I really don't. Sports Classics, maybe? I wish I knew what it was called. Oh, that might be it. Hold on, give me a second. I would pause this, but I feel like this is... Yeah, there it is. I found it. Okay. I'm going to pull up a picture of this. Okay, it's not as similar as I remembered, but look at that's the game. That's the car in GTA 5. Let me make it a little bit smaller. Maybe the smaller it is, the more it looks like it. That's the car in GTA 5. That's the car in real life. So it's not as similar as I remembered, but that's still pretty similar. That's what popped into my head when I saw it. I mean, if you just take like this trim off on the headlights and this trim off on the fins right here, it pretty much look the same. I mean, like even those front bumper, it's a little bit more pointed. I don't know why that popped in my head. I just wasted so much time. But you know what? This podcast is about feeling like you're actually talking to your friend or some random person. So, you know, it's fine. Everything's fine. In 1960, Ferrari was reorganized as a public company. It soon began searching for a business partner to handle its manufacturing operations. It first approached Ford in 1963, though negotiations fell through. Later, talks with Fiat, who bought 50% of Ferrari's shares in 1969, were more successful. In the second half of the decade, Ferrari also produced two cars that upended its more traditional models. 1967 Dino 206 GT, which was its first mass-produced mid-engine road car. Let me show you what the Dino looks like. This car is a really cool looking car. If you've never seen one in person, I recommend going to a Ferrari car show at any point and finding one. Look at that. The name Dino just fits it perfectly. It looks like a dinosaur. And it is pronounced Dino, not Dino. Some people think it's Dino. It's Dino. It's the Ferrari Dino. Seriously, it's such a cool car, though. I love the way this car looks. So it's a Ferrari 205 Dino, and there was also the 365 GTB-4, which also a very cool looking car, because if you don't look close enough, it almost looks like the headlights just don't exist. But they're right here. They're just really well blended in, because you would kind of expect them to be like up here, but they're just right down here. But a very expensive Ferrari. There's a Mura right there, that orange Mura in the background. That's one of my favorite Lamborghinis of all time. I know what that's called, I just can't think of it. What's it, like a 528, 528, 428? I can't remember. It's one of those. But yeah, so then there was 365 GTB4, which possessed streamlined styling that modernized Ferrari's design language. The Dino, in particular, was a decisive movement away from the company's conservative engineering approach, where every road-going Ferrari featured a V12 engine placed in the front of the car, and it presaged Ferrari's full embrace of mid-engines architecture, as well as V6 and V8 engines in the 1970s and 1980s. Enzo Ferrari died in 1988, an event that saw Fiat expand its stake to 90%. The last car that he personally approved, the F40, expanded onto the flagship supercar approach, first tried by the 288 GTO 4 years earlier. So we're going to show you the F40. This is arguably Ferrari's most popular car of all time, and for good reason, because it's absolutely beautiful. I've seen one of these in person before. It's just unreal. This is probably one of the world's best cars. Like, design-wise, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful car. The headlights, pop-up headlights up here. You got this beautiful spoiler. The rear end is gorgeous. That sounds funny, but it's true. It's true. It just has to be one of the most popular cars, looks-wise, of all time. I mean, you ask anybody who's into cars what Ferrari they'd pick if they could have one for free, I'd bet a good 70% of them would say an F40. Absolutely beautiful car. So now we're also going to go to where it said was tried by the 288 GTO. This is also a really good looking car. Arguably not as good looking as the F40, but still very eye-catching, and I really like the shape. The shape of it is just different, and I like it. Also, I'm sorry if the picture's not centered. That's probably going to bother some of you, especially my dad. I know he watches this, and he really likes things being centered. There we go, that's better. But yeah, I really like the way the front end of this car looks, and just something about the side, it looks very sporty. They definitely did a good job getting that sport look that they were hoping for. Because it's a really good looking car. I really like the 288 GTO. Enzo was replaced in 1991 by Luca Correro di Montezemolo. Let me retry that. Let me try that again. Enzo was replaced in 1991 by Luca Correro di Montezemolo, under whose 23-year-long chairmanship the company greatly expanded. Between 1991 and 2014, he increased the profitability of Ferrari's road cars nearly tenfold, both by increasing the range of cars offered and through limiting the total number produced. Montezemolo's chairmanship also saw an expansion in licensing deals, a drastic improvement in Ferrari's Formula One performance, and the production of 3 more flagship cars, the F50, the Enzo, and the La Ferrari. So, F50, as you know, as you can tell by the name, the car it was F40 inspired, but it just didn't do it as well. There's just something about it. It didn't do as good of a job. Still a beautiful car, but it's just, I think it's too rounded in the front, and these headlights are too bulbous. I think that's what killed it. It's still beautiful. It just looks a little bit derpy in the front. Like, these are the eyes right here. These are the nostrils, and there's the mouth. Just a little bit too derpy. I mean, I say that, but I'd still, drive one all day, every day if I had the opportunity to do so. Oh, you see that Jaguar XJ 2200, I think it is. Right here in the back, it's a beautiful color. That's also an awesome car. We'll have to do a Jaguar episode as well. I just want to make sure I'm right on the price. Oh, it's XJ220. Okay, I added an extra 0. It's just the XJ220. Either way, it's a really cool looking car. The front end, actually, the headlights look similar to this, but imagine the headlights have a cap over them, and the cap just goes down. That's pretty much what the XJ220 headlights look like. But there's a Ferrari F50. Kind of looks like what you would imagine it would look like based on the F40. And then we also mentioned, let me find it, the Enzo. So, Enzo Ferrari was the Ferrari creator, and this is basically his car, if you will. Not actually, but like it was marketed as his Ferrari. Also very iconic. I've seen one of these in person before. They're crazy, but they look really good. But it also looks like it has a huge nose for some reason. I guess that's just an Italian thing, But they're crazy. I look at that little window on the side. Like, do you know how expensive it would be to replace just that tiny little pane of glass right there? If that ever gets broken or cracked, that'd be insane. But body lines are beautiful. I love this kind of squared off look with the body line here, showing that it's not just a box. You still get like body lines to it. It's really, really cool. The very pointy headlights are different, but I don't dislike it. And then we talked about, let me find it, the La Ferrari. Now, this is also, I've also seen one of these in person. This is also one of their most popular cars. I mean, look at it. Beautiful. If I can get it to, there we go. Also one of their most popular cars. I have seen one of these in person just once, but this is basically, you can see the resemblance between this and the Enzo. The nose is the same, and like the boxiness with the little thing here, very, very Enzo related. It's like the predecessor or the successor of the Enzo Ferrari. But these mirrors are kind of funny. They just stick out so far, and it's just, I mean, hey, you know, they didn't put like this the tiny little one that stick off like an inch on the edge like some hypercars do, just like it's attached to the body pretty much. They just gave you that toe mirror size mirror right there. I know the Lamborghini Murcielago also has very large toe mirrors, or they're not toe mirrors, but they look like toe mirrors. It's just really funny. But yeah, all right, let's continue. In addition to its leadership of Ferrari, Montezemolo was also the chairman of Fiat proper between 2004 and 2010. After Montezemolo resigned, he was replaced in quick succession by many new chairmen and CEOs. He was succeeded first by Sergio Marchionne, who would oversee Ferrari's initial public offering and subsequent spin-off from Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, and then by Louis Camilleri as CEO and John Elkann as chairman. Beginning in 2021, Camilleri, that's definitely not right, he's definitely Italian, was replaced as CEO by Benedetto Vigna, who has announced plans to develop Ferrari's first fully electric model. During this period, Ferrari has expanded its production, owing to a global increase in wealth, while becoming more selective with its licensing deals. Now let's get on to the motorsport section. I think Ferrari is mostly known for its motorsport, especially with Formula One. That's what it's most popular for. It's popular for its hypercars, but I think the thing that brings the most money is definitely the motorsport. I mean, that makes sense. They win all the time, from what I know. I don't follow Formula One as much, but from what I've heard, especially what I just said 15 minutes ago, they win a lot. Since the company's beginnings, Ferrari has been involved in motorsport. Through its works team, Scuderia Ferrari has competed in a range of categories, including Formula One and sports car racing, though the company has also worked in partnership with other teams. The earliest Ferrari entity, Scuderia Ferrari, was created in 1929, 10 years before the founding of Ferrari proper, as a Grand Prix racing team. It was affiliated with automaker Alfa Romeo, from whom Enzo had worked in the 1920s. Alfa Romeo supplied racing cars to Ferrari, which the team then tuned and adjusted to their desired specifications. Scuderia Ferrari was highly successful in the 1930s. Between 1929 and 1937, the team fielded such top drivers as Antonio Ascari, Giuseppe Campari, and Tazio Nuvolari. Those are the most Italian names I've ever heard. I'm sorry. Those are the most Italian names I think I've ever heard in my whole life. I mean, one of them is my middle name. No, it's not Giuseppe. Okay, that'd be kind of cool though. Giuseppe's a cool name. And Giuseppe, and won 144 out of his 225 races. Ferrari returned to the Grand Prix in 1947, which was at that point metamorphosing into modern-day Formula One. The team's first home-built Grand Prix car, the 125 F1, which I will throw up a picture of because, I mean, just the guy driving it looks kind of funny. Let's throw him up there. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look at him. He looks like he's having a blast. All that cold wind directly to his face. I like the design though. It's cool. But once again, they got a big nose and a big nose. This looks like Radwood or Goodwood. Yeah, this is Goodwood. This is that Goodwood. I can tell by the hay bales. They never just... Yeah, this is Goodwood. Goodwood's fun. If you haven't seen clips of Goodwood racing, it's really, really entertaining. If you're one of those people that throws on hour-long videos of Nürburgring or people doing car show exits and stuff, you should watch Goodwood. I think you'd enjoy that. Festival of Speed. It's really, really interesting. There's always really cool and fun cars that go through there. But yeah, the team's first home-built Grand Prix car, the 125 F1, which is this, was first raced at the 1948 Italian Grand Prix, where its encouraging performance convinced Enzo to continue the company's costly Grand Prix racing program. Ferrari's first victory in an F1 series was the 1951 British Grand Prix, heralding its strong performance during the 1950s and early 1960s. Between 1952 and 1964, the team took home 6 World Drivers' Championships and 1 Constructors' Championship. Notable Ferrari drivers from this era include Alberto Ascari, Juan Manuel Fangio, Phil Hill, that's a funny name, and John Surtees. Phil Hill is great. There's something about names that rhyme. Phil Hill, that's just a really funny name. Sorry, Phil, if you're listening to this. You're definitely not, because I think you're 80 years old now, according to this picture of you here. Ferrari's initial fortunes ran dry after 1964 and it began to receive titles and isolated sprees. Ferrari first started to slip in the late 1960s when it was outclassed by teams using the inexpensive, well-engineered Cosworth DFV engine. The Cosworth DFV is an internal combustion engine. Sorry, I meant internal. That was originally produced by Cosworth for Formula One motor racing. The name is an abbreviation of double four valve. The engine being a V8 developed with the earlier four-cylinder FVA, which had 4 valves per cylinder. The team's performance improved markedly in the mid-1970s thanks to Niki Lauda, whose skills behind the wheel guaranteed Ferrari a driver's title in 1975 and 1977. Similar success was accomplished in following years by the likes of Jody Scheckter, that's also a pretty funny name, and Gilles Villeneuve. Dude, he has 9 in Spanish in his name. Or unless it's Villeneuve or Villeneuve. He's a villain. The team also won the Constructors' Championship in 1982 and 1983. Following another drought in the 1980s and 1990s, Ferrari saw a long winning streak in the 2000s, largely through the work of Michael Schumacher. Okay, that's a more recent name. I feel like a lot more people will know who that is. After signing onto the team in 1996, Schumacher gave Ferrari 5 consecutive drivers' titles between 2000 and 2004. This was accompanied by 6 consecutive constructors' titles beginning in 1999. Ferrari was especially dominant in the 2004 season, where it lost only 3 races in the whole season. That's pretty crazy. After Schumacher's departure, Ferrari won one more driver's title, given in 2007 to Kimi Raikkonen, nicknamed the Iceman. I'm just going to call him the Iceman. And 2 constructors' titles in 2007 and 2008. These are the team's most recent titles to date. As of late, Ferrari has struggled to outdo recently ascendant teams like Red Bull and Mercedes-Benz. So they used to be the leaders in motorsport, and it seems like they're starting to fall behind. Ferrari's junior driver program is the Ferrari Driver Academy. Begun in 2009, the initiative follows the team's successful grooming of Felipe Massa between 2003-2006. Drivers who are accepted into the academy learn the rules and history of Formula racing as they compete, with Ferrari support and feeder classes such as Formula 3 and Formula 4. As of 2019, 5 out of 18 program inductees had graduated and become F1 drivers. One of these drivers, Charles Leclerc. Some of you people are gonna be upset with me that I can't pronounce names right, and I'm very sorry. Came to race for Scuderia Ferrari, while the other 4 signed to other teams. Non-graduate drivers have participated in racing development, filled consultant roles, or left the academy to continue racing in lower-tier formulae, which is, I guess, the way of saying formula. Aside from an abortive effect in 1940, Ferrari began racing sports cars in 1947 when the 125S, which we saw before, won 6 out of the 10 races it participated in. Ferrari continued to see similar luck in the years to follow. By 1957, just 10 years after beginning to compete, Ferrari had won 3 World Sports Car Championships, 7 victories in the Mille Miglia, and 2 victories at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Among many other races, these races were ideal environments for the development and promotion of Ferrari's earlier road cars, which were broadly similar to their racing counterparts. This luck continued into the first half of the 1960s when Ferrari won the WSC 2000 GT class, not the Toyota 2000 GT. That's a great car though. 3 consecutive times and finished first at Le Mans for 6 consecutive years. Its winning streak at Le Mans was broken by Ford in 1966. Of course, Ford vs. Ferrari. That's a great movie, by the way. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. And though Ferrari would win 2 more WSC titles, one in 1967 and the other in 1972, poor revenue allocation combined with languishing performance in Formula One led the company to cease competing in sports car events in 1973. From that point onward, Ferrari would help prepare sports racing cars for privateer teams, but would not race them itself. In 2023, Ferrari re-entered sports car racing for the 2023 FIA World Endurance Championship. Ferrari, in partnership with AF Corse, fielded 2 499p sports prototypes. Let me get you a picture of what these look like. Now, this is going to be a very large jump in technology and design from the car you're looking at right now. If my mouse would stop being garbage and would actually work. There it is. Look at that. So this this is what today's motorsport, especially 24 hours of Le Mans cars, look like. But like, they look sick. They look really, really cool. Especially this one. I really like the way this car looks. But also the thing is, though, is if you get too much air up under there, these things can very easily flip. I've seen it multiple times in races because it's just flat on the bottom. They have a skid plate along the entire bottom of the car, so if you get enough air in there, it'll just pick it right up. So gotta be careful with that. But hey, it's Richard. I have a car in Forza Motorsport 7 that has his name on it in the Ferrari I drive. Anyway, I really like the way these cars look. This is what a lot of, like, even the Porsches look like this now. A lot of the other racing companies, they all are kind of designed that similar way. To commemorate the company's return to the discipline, one of the cars was numbered 50, referring to 50 years that had elapsed since Works at Ferrari competed in an endurance race. Hold on. Since A Works Ferrari, there we go, that makes more sense. The 499P finished first at the 2023 24-hour Le Mans, ending Toyota Gazoo Racing's 6-year winning streak, and becoming the first Ferrari in 58 years to win a race. Dang, it's been 58 years since Ferrari won a race, ending this year. And good job Toyota GR for winning 6 years, but give it back to Ferrari. From 1932 to 1935, Scuderia Ferrari operated a motorcycle racing division, which was conceived as a way to scout and train future Grand Prix drivers. Instead of Italian motorcycles, the team used British ones manufactured by Norton and Rudge. Though Ferrari was successful on 2 wheels, winning 3 national titles and 44 overall victories, it was eventually pushed out of the discipline both by the obsolescence and pushrod motorcycle engines and broader economic troubles stemming from the Great Depression, which feels like we're going to have another one soon. Just saying. Waiting for that market crash before I make my big purchase decisions, because it's bound to happen eventually. Ferrari formerly participated in a variety of non-F1 open-wheel series as early as 1948. Ferrari had developed cars for Formula 2 and Formula Libre events, and the company's F2 program led directly to the creation of the Dino engine, which came to power various racing and road Ferraris. The final non-F1 formula in which Ferrari competed was the Tasman Series, wherein Chris Amon won the 1969 championship in a Dino 246 Tasmania. At least 2 water speed record boats have utilized Ferrari powertrains, both of them 800 kilogram class hydroplanes from the early 1950s. Neither boat was built by or affiliated with Ferrari, though one of them, the Arno XI, had its engine order approved directly by Enzo Ferrari. Arno XI still holds the top speed record for an 800 kilogram hydroplane. We're going to throw that up there just because we were just talking about it, and I do have a picture of it if the quality will load so that we are not looking at pixels. There it is, the Ferrari powered hydro speedboat. I mean, that's a pretty fast looking boat. Honestly, it looks really cool. That's probably one of the coolest boats I've ever seen in my life. It's now in a museum, as you can tell. But that's a cool looking boat. It almost looks like a rocket, which probably is kind of part of the design. Look at that exhaust, though. That's crazy. That's a very cool boat. I kind of want one. Not that I would go that fast, but it'd be cool to use. Throughout its history, Ferrari has supplied racing cars to other entrants aside from its own Works Ferrari team. In the 1950s and 60s, Ferrari supplied Formula 1 cars to a number of private entrants and other teams. One famous example was Tony van der Velde team, which raced the thin wall special modified Ferraris before building their own van wall cars. The North American racing team's entries in the final 3 rounds of the 1969 session were the last occasions on which a team other than Ferrari entered a World Championship Grand Prix with a Ferrari car. Ferrari supplied cars to compete with V8 engines for the A1 Grand Prix Series from the 2008-2009 season. The car was designed by Rory Byrne and is styled to resemble the 2004 Ferrari Formula 1 car. Ferrari currently runs a customer GT program for a racing version of its 458 and has done so for 458's predecessors dating back to the 355 in the late 1990s. Such private teams as the American Risi Competizione and Italian AF Course teams have been very successful. with Ferrari GT racers. Over the years, this car made for endurance sports car racing to compete against such racing versions of the Audi R8, McLaren MP412C, and BMW Z4 on E89, has proven to be successful, but not as successful as its predecessor, the F430. The Ferrari Challenge is a one-make racing series for the Ferrari 458. The FXX is not road legal and is therefore only used for track events. So we got a lot of pictures to go through here. So let's first show the 458. I feel like this is probably the most well-known Ferrari, probably because for a while there, it was one of like the most purchased road Ferraris that you would see by like rich people driving. Here's the 458. You've probably seen it. The 488 looks familiar, but honestly, I think I might like the 488 a little bit more. Then we also have the Audi R8, which this is going to be a newer picture, but they don't look too different. This was also mentioned, and I'm going to throw a picture up there because there are some people who don't know, and that's what this podcast is for learning. So this is an Audi R8 right here. This is like the 2017 model, I believe. I could be wrong on my date there, but I'm pretty sure it's 2017. Also, it's on 305 30R20s right now, which those are some thick tires. 305s are huge. I run on like 165s. That's a huge tire. We also mentioned the McLaren MP412C. This is a really cool car that's definitely on the more underrated side, I'd say. You don't hear a lot or see a lot about it, but it's a very cool McLaren. I really like McLaren. I think McLaren might be my favorite hypercar company. This one's pre-owned, but 12C, really, it's a pretty cool looking car to not talk about very much. Oh, I should do a McLaren episode. I really like McLaren. I should do a McLaren episode. And we also mentioned the BMW Z4, which, looking at this, you're gonna wonder how this even competed, but honestly, I'm not sure either. But this is what they were competing against. I mean, this is basically just a glorified Miata. But what do I know? We wanted to get my mom a Z3, but we ended up getting a Volkswagen Cabrio instead, which honestly probably has, despite both being German, I feel like the Volkswagen might have better reliability. But I'm not gonna. You guys can argue about that in the Q&A section down below. Give me your opinion. I don't know. I've just heard like Volkswagens are more reliable than BMWs. I may be wrong. Okay, I might be wrong. It's possible. I have never owned a BMW, so I don't know. Then again, that Volkswagen is pretty low on miles, so there's a chance we just haven't gotten to the line of problems yet. That is also very possible. But yeah, how this thing was competing with Audis and McLarens and Ferraris, I don't know. We also had the Ferrari F30, which is also, dare I say, on the cheap side of Ferrari, not quality-wise, just price-wise. People who are like not actually rich, but just have a lot of money they want to spend on something that makes them look very rich, they'd probably get one of these. This is one of the cheaper Ferraris. I mean, it's still like $150,000, something stupid, but that's cheap compared to like the multi-million-dollar ones that they have. And then we have the Ferrari Challenge Evo, the 488 Challenge. Even waiting for it to load. There we go. So this is the 488, not the 458, but this is the Motorsport Racing Edition that they built. So you can see the difference. The 488 is a little bit more aggressive in the front. They didn't change much about the front except for like these right here, but it looks pretty similar. It's just a little bit more aggressive. I kind of like it a bit more. I used to not like it as much, but it's kind of growing on me. Things change. Now we're on to the road car section, which to start this off, I'm going to show you the 166 Inter Touring Berlinetta. We're going to throw this up on the screen. Bam. There you go. That's a good old classic Ferrari right there. Alright, so the first vehicle made with a Ferrari name was the 125S, which we showed about 30 minutes ago. Only two of its small two-seat sports car racing only two of the small two-seat sports/racing V12 car were made. In 1949, the 166 Inter, which we're looking at now, was introduced, marking the company's significant move into the Grand Touring road car market. The first 166 Inter was a 4-seat 2x2 Berlinetta coupe with bodywork designed by Carrozzeria Touring Superleggera. Road cars quickly became the bulk of Ferrari sales. The early Ferrari cars typically featured bodywork designed and customized by independent coach builders such as Pininfarina, Scaglietti, Zagato, Vignale, and Bertone. The original road cars were typically 2-seat front-engine V12s. This platform served Ferrari very well through the 1950s and 1960s. In 1968, the Dino was introduced as the first 2-seat rear mid-engine Ferrari. The Dino was produced primarily with a V6, which is the smallest Ferrari made. However, a V8 model was also developed. This rear mid-engine layout would go to be used on many Ferraris of the 1980s and 1990s and to present day. Current road cars typically use V8 or V12 engines, with V8 models making up well over half the marque's total production. V8s are just cheaper to make, I would imagine. Also, more people are likely to buy a V8 due to gas and whatnot, even though I feel like if you drive a Ferrari, you do not care about gas mileage that much. Historically, Ferrari has also produced flat 12 engines, which are very crazy engines. For a time, Ferrari built 2x2 versions of its mid-engine V8 cars, although they look quite different from their 2-seat counterparts. Both the GT4 and Mondeo were closely related to the 308 GTB. Ferrari entered the mid-engine 12-cylinder fray with the Berlinetta Boxer in 1973. The later Testarossa remains one of the most popular and famous Ferrari road cars of all time. That is very, very true. You're probably going to recognize it when I throw up a picture, but first, I'm going to throw up a picture of the Ferrari 356 GT4. Bam, you can kind of see the relation to this and the other car that I threw up a bit ago, that I put up after the Enzo, or was it before the, no, it was after the F40. The car put up after the F40, you can see the relation to this and that, especially with like the front end, but there's that. And we also mentioned, let's see, where is it? The Testarossa. This is honestly one of my favorite Ferraris. It's just such an iconic design. Very, very cool. Beautiful design. I love the little venting we got going on here. It looks really, really cool. It's a beautiful car. Looks like there's a California behind it, possibly. One of the newer ones. Not the really old one, the really expensive one. Looks like one of the newer Californias right there. And this looks like, I know it's not, but this hood almost looks like a Hellcat. This looks like a Dodge Challenger. It's not. I could tell by the way the back is, but it's just kind of funny. So yeah, the Testarossa, you probably have seen it. It's very, very popular. The company has also produced several front-engine 2x2 cars, culminating in the recent V12 model Lusso and V8 models Roma, Portofino, and Lusso T. The California is credited with initiating the popular current model line of V8 front-engine 2x2 Grand Touring performance sports cars. Alright, so we're going to start with a picture of the California, because that's what I just talked about. The one I'm showing, the top isn't down, like the one in this picture, but I feel like you can still kind of see the resemblance. It might not be. I could be wrong. It just looks very familiar. I'm trying to look to see if the mirror looks the same. Not really. I know they made multiple model years though, so it could be a different model year. But here's the Ferrari California. It could be a different model year, or it could just be a different car. I could be wrong. I'm not right about everything. That's pretty evident. So we also talked about the Lusso, which honestly, this thing is kind of cool. I kind of like this car a lot. I don't think it's very popular, but it's like a wagon Ferrari. It's like a Ferrari F12, I think it is. Is it the F12 or the California? It might still be the California, but the front end, it's like slightly based off of that. It's like the F12 or the California, the Berlinetta. I can't remember. I haven't looked at this car in forever, but the front of this looks very familiar, and then you just turn it into a wagon. I really like the Lucoso. It's really, really cool looking car. Or the Lusso. Then we got the Roma, which this is a 2024 model. I don't even know. Oh, it's December 2023, so you probably can buy it. But there's the Roma. Not my favorite I mean, like, it's cool. It definitely fits Ferrari, but it almost looks like a Nissan 400Z. I actually want to compare them side by side. I'm going to pull up a picture of a 400Z real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. Let me find a picture that's like facing the same direction. Probably this one. That's probably the best one. This is the... I feel like that's the Nismo one though, so it's not exactly the same. This is good enough. We'll get this one. It kind of looks like just a more expensive version of a Nissan 400Z. Let me make it a bit smaller so you can compare them. Google would appreciate what I'm trying to do here. There we go. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe it's just me, but especially like the side view. It could just be because it's a two-door with a long nose, but that's what I saw at first glance. I mean, especially look at the windows too. The design of the windows are almost exactly the same. Maybe I'm catching on to something. I don't know. That's just what I thought upon first glance. We also mentioned the Portofino, which I will pull up a picture of. This also looks a lot like the Lusso. Nope, wrong thing. Let me bring that up real quick. There it goes. Bam. This looks like a Ferrari California as well. It's not, but it does look like one. As well. No, I already brought that one up. Starting in the early 2010s with the LaFerrari, the focus was shifted away from the use of independent coach builders to what is now the standard. Ferrari relying on in-house design from Centro Style Ferrari for the design of all its road cars. The 812 is what the 812 is the car I was thinking of. Let me pull up a picture of that. This is the car I was trying to say earlier, but honestly, I'm now learning the Ferrari is a bit closer to that. But you can kind of see this might be the car that was in the background of that picture. It might be this one, based on the rear end. Yeah, that's the 812 super fast, which is a cool car. Let's just show a picture of a few of their newer ones. I mean, this was 2017, but just to show kind of, if you're really not into Ferrari or haven't really been updated on them much, this is kind of what they look like now. This is the Monza. I've seen one of these in person before too. This thing is absolutely insane. Notice how there's only one seat. There's actually, I believe, a cover that you put over this. So if you have a passenger, you can take the cover off, and it's just like a bucket. You don't get like that comfortable of a seat. You just get like a cushion to sit on, basically. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure you can. Look at how ginormous this hood is, with a little mouth right here. This thing is crazy in person, though. I saw it at Cars and Coffee. There's also the SP2. That's the SP1. We're going to throw up the SP2 right now. There it is. This one has an actual passenger seat. We still get that little teeny tiny little windscreen right there, which if your head's like right here, you're going to have to be really leaning in that seat to get your head in level with this, because that's the headrest. So why would you... I don't have enough money to understand. We got the F8, which is a very beautiful Ferrari. I really like... Hold on. It's going to make me do this to get it. Okay, I really like the wheels on this car. I kind of want some on my Ion. So hey Ferrari, if you're listening and you have a few extra of those laying around in the warehouse on your Ferrari F8, you want to send me a set, I would be very, very happy to receive those. We have the SF90 Stradale. Just so you can see, a lot of the newer Ferraris are kind of in a similar design niche, dare I say. Their front ends, and I think I like older Ferrari more, but I think that's kind of fair to say. It's kind of like that for a lot of car manufacturers and a lot of people. Sorry about that. A lot of car people prefer older cars over newer cars, but there are people like Supercar Blondie who prefer the crazy concept and hypercars more than the oldies. Here is this crazy thing. This is the Daytona SP3. which honestly, I do like this though. This looks cool. This looks like a Hot Wheels brought to life. I actually really like this one. Because I can tell, like, look at how that opens right there. You can kind of just tell across the seam. I like this. This is a cool looking car. In the 1950s and 1960s, clients often personalized their vehicles as they became straight from the factory. This philosophy added to the mystique of the brand. Every Ferrari that comes out of Maranello is built to an individual customer specification. In this sense, each vehicle is a unique result of a specific client's desire. That's pretty cool. No two Ferraris were the same. That's not true because you had a limited number of options, but still, there was a lot of different ones, which is very, very, very cool. Ferrari formalized this concept with its earlier Carrozzeria Scaglietti program. The options offered here are more typical, such as racing seats, rear-view cameras, and other special trim. In late 2011, Ferrari announced a significant update in this philosophy. The tailor-made program allows clients to work with designers in Maranello to make decisions at every step of the process. Through this program, almost any trim, any exterior color, or any interior material is possible. The program carries on the original tradition and emphasizes the idea of each car being unique. Now, this is surprising coming from Ferrari because they're stricklers on their car. You put a spoiler on it that they don't like, and they will send you a letter asking you to remove, actually less like asking, more telling you to remove the spoiler. The guy who put that really, really famous Nyancat Ferrari from like 2011, which I'll throw up a picture of because that was a while ago, and I know there are people listening that have no idea what that is. But this was a very popular meme back in the day, back when I had my iPod 4th generation. It was Deadmau5. Oh, I didn't know Deadmau5 was the guy who had it. No, that is not. I clicked the wrong thing. This was a very, very popular car and a very popular meme back in the day. But since, why is that so blurry? But since has had to have been removed because Ferrari said they didn't like it, and they made them take the wrap off, which is kind of crazy because it's like your car, you can do whatever you want. That's Deadmau5, the music guy, producer. I had no clue it was his. I just thought it was some random person. But yeah, that's the Nyancat meme, the little pop-tart cat that sings for an infinite amount of time. It's crazy how far memes have come since then. We went from things that were just like, oh look, a cat dancing, to the letter E with bass behind it. That was funny for a long time. And now videos can't be more than like 10 seconds or people lose interest in them. So, kind of scared for our future. Especially because I saw a video of like an 8-year-old kid maybe playing Minecraft on his tablet, but then in his hand he had a phone on TikTok at the same time, and he would move like 3 blocks and then look at the next TikTok, and then move 3 blocks and then look at the next TikTok. And it's like, how are you even doing that? Like, is that a sign that I'm getting old, or is that a sign that this social media stuff is destroying our generation? Because I mean, he wasn't even watching the full TikTok. He literally was just doing a few things in Minecraft and then scrolling to the next one. I don't even think he was listening. Like, I like having stuff on in the background while I do stuff, whether it's like an hour-long video of my favorite YouTuber, or one of my favorite YouTubers like playing a game, or just like a podcast or something while I'm like playing my own game or doing something else. But that's kind of crazy. That's kind of insane. I think he's bringing that a little far, because how are you gonna? I don't know. That's just a bit concerning for our next generation of presidents and people of the government. Because how are they gonna run the country if they can't even watch a 30-second video? I don't know. I mean, hey, hopefully America will be safe. I'm not even gonna go there, because you know what? That's America. Who knows what's going on? The world's going crazy. The world's honestly gonna blow up soon, probably. I wouldn't be surprised. Also, this right here I'm about to show you might be the rain. Oh, I had that scrolled down the whole time. This right here might be the main reason why Ferrari made him get rid of it. It's because he put, oh come on, he put a custom badge on it that says Ferrari. And I think when you buy a Ferrari, you actually have to sign a piece of paper that says you will not mess with the logo or anything like that. So that's probably the main reason why he had to get rid of it. But that was the Ferrari. Anyway, I want to see, we're getting close to the end here. I want to see if there's any other little important things. There is more to this, but I'm covering the main important stuff. I want to see if there's a few other things I want to I do want to talk about the recalls. So in January 2020, the Italian car maker said it will recall 982 vehicles for passenger airbags due to the Takata airbag recalls. If the inflator explodes, the airbag will spew metal shrapnel at passengers, which can cause severe injury. Every car involved will get a new passenger side airbag assembly, complete, I was right the first time, with a new inflator without the dangerous propellant. That's very dangerous. How do you even, I mean, that was 2020. We've had airbags for years after that. Come on, Ferrari, you have millions of dollars. I get it though, things happen. On the 8th of August 2022, the company recalled almost every car it sold in the US since 2005 over potential for brake failure. That's insane. Let's see. That's 17 years, right? Am I good at that? Let's see. So, 2005, 2015 is 10 years. And then 2020 will be 15, and 2021, 2020, yeah. I'm just making sure so I don't embarrass myself on the internet. According to the NHTSA recall filling, 23,555 Ferrari models sold in America are fitted with potentially faulty brake fluid reservoir cap that may not vent pressure adequately. The affected cars will be fitted with a replacement cap and receive a software update. Imagine your car needing a software update. That's crazy. But either way, almost every car sold, which I guess sounds like a lot, but then you remember it's Ferrari and they're all expensive. That's only about 23,000 cars, which, I mean, that's still a lot of cars. But if you remember the Toyota episode, they made that many cars in like 2 days. So, and they sold double that much. So I think, recalls are pretty important to point out. And I want to talk about this one last little bullet point I have here. An F430 Spider that runs on ethanol was displayed at the 2008 Detroit Auto Show. At the 2010 Geneva Motor Show, Ferrari unveiled a hybrid version of their flagship 599 called the High-Curse Concept. Ferrari hybrid system adds more than 100 horsepower on top of the 599 Fiono's 612 horsepower. Also in mid-2014, the flagship LaFerrari was put in production. So that's just a biofuel and hybrid little kind of thing. The 599, pretty cool looking car. Kind of just looks like the California. It's a Forza Horizon 1. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. And I'm not going to show you the pictures. That way you can go play it, because you should play it. Or you can just look it up if you really wanted to. But I think you should get an Xbox 360. Or actually, it works on an Xbox One. Just get an Xbox, get Forza Horizon 1, and play it. It's one of the best games of all time. I think it's still my favorite game to this day. It's just insanely fun. But yeah, on that note, that's going to be the end of this episode. This was a bit longer, but only by a few minutes. Not bad. Thank you guys for listening to this episode. I hope it has helped you feel productive in your day, and now you can share some Ferrari facts with your coworkers or family members, or if you're a younger kid, you can go tell these to your parents and they'll love you more. They'll be impressed with you and they'll buy you stuff. Actually, here, send this clip to your parents. You don't have to be a child. You could be like 25. Because you listened to this and you got this far in the podcast, they now owe you a free ice cream, a free pizza, or a free taco. One of the three. Yet they have to pick one, and actually you have to pick one, and then they have to get it for you. That's it. That's the rule. I don't make the rules. I do, but in this instance, you have to follow them because you listened to this whole thing. So congratulations. And on that note, I'll see you guys Thursday. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you all for the support. I appreciate it so much. I appreciate seeing all the support all over YouTube, Instagram, here on this podcast, even on Spotify and Amazon Music. Still working on getting it on Apple Music, but Apple kind of sucks. I'm going to be honest. They're being a little a little mean to me and not letting me fill out some information because they keep giving me an error, like, oh, you can't do that right now. And I'm like, well, great. Guess I'll have to postpone getting this podcast on Apple Music, but we'll get there eventually. I just got to work with Apple. But yeah, I appreciate you so much, like I said, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.